I'm more like a cat, like literally. I hate to go outside, and because of my ears, I'm really afraid of water.
Well, hey guys, welcome to another episode of, what's the name of my podcast again?
I think I'm on Nerd Gush, but then you said it was intro.
It's a crossover episode, guys. Today is interviews mixed with Nerd Gush, because we have a nerdy guest today, nerdy like myself. He is a video game creator, actually, so we're going to be talking about video games and other nerd-related topics and such, so welcome to the show. So, Matt Edson, how you doing, bro?
Good, how are you, Zach Adair?
I'm excellent. I got my coffee. I'm trying to wake up from a nap. We're having a great time.
Nobody knows what's in that cup, though.
It's a mystery. I said it's coffee, but they have to take my word.
I mean, that's a lot of whiskey to put in the cup.
Whew, goes down harsh. Well,
this is just straight rum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's all I could afford. I got the ABC rum.
It's like, hey, do you want tap water or would you rather have rum? And I was like, Zach, we're doing a podcast. Give me the rum, man.
It's 300 proof, so I figure, it'll get the job done.
It's the only way to talk about Axe Cop.
So, Axe Cop, before we get to Axe Cop, I want to know, so what got you into making video games?
Well, it was in 9th grade, and my buddy Ben Stevenson was making a game called Bashindi, the One-Armed Fencer.
I've played this game.
And he gave it to me on a floppy disk, and it blew my mind. And then he also gave me a copy of the game construction engine, and then that also blew my mind. Mm-hmm. And then I just kind of started learning over and over, and just kind of kept sticking with it. Was
that like RPG Maker?
It's called the OHR RPG CE, which stands for the Official Hamster Republic RPG Construction Engine. We've asked them to make a better name for it, but...
It's just like open source internet technology, isn't it?
I think
People
recently
just
it's
made
become open source.
It wasn't originally, okay.
Right.
But it's still out there, right?
Yeah, they still make updates for it and everything.
Is that... I don't want to jump forward to Axe Cop, but is that what you used to make Axe Cop?
Yes, I've been primarily using that, or I've only used that since I was 13.
That's awesome. Well, like what games were your biggest inspiration? Because I get definitely like an NES, Super Nintendo kind of RPG vibe from a lot of your stuff that I've played. What would be like the biggest inspiration, do you think?
The biggest game inspiration of all time is my favorite game, and that's Final Fantasy IX.
Ooh. That's a different one. That's not most people's favorites.
I know. People usually give me a lot of crap because I've never played Chrono Trigger and Earthbound.
I love Chrono Trigger.
I know. And everyone's like, Matt, Axe Cop's just like Earthbound. How have you never played this? And I'm like, I don't know.
I can see that.
It's on my list for this year to do.
Yeah, you do a lot of stuff with interesting puzzles and like locomotion stuff with the characters, and that's definitely a big part of a Chrono Trigger, definitely. But what's your favorite thing about Final Fantasy IX? Why is it that one? I love the art style in that one.
I love, just like, I hate to say all of it, because that's the game I've played the most in my whole life. But like, I love the world and how grounded everything feels in it.
It's interesting because the characters are kind of like cartoonish too. They're kind of, but the world itself is like really realistic.
Yeah, it's super well built.
That's one I haven't played a whole lot of, actually. I'll have to get on it.
Yeah.
I don't have an excuse with emulators. Now I can play.
I don't have an excuse for not playing Chrono Trigger.
This is true. It's just time. Time is the main excuse.
Isn't that
especially
what the game's
if you get
about?
to be our age. Well, if only time travel was real so I could go back to play Chrono Trigger anytime I wanted.
But then you wouldn't feel guilty about having not played it as much as you wanted to play it.
Or I'd feel even worse because I had such crazy technology, but I never used it.
Because time will no longer be an issue.
Yeah. Right.
Because now you'll have all the time.
I have no excuse.
There's no excuse.
Time was my one excuse, bro. You got to give me that at least.
Fine. Time. There you go.
Well, yeah, so when did you get into gaming? Was it NES stuff, or did you start more on the PlayStation kind of era? Was that
It was a NES Game Boy.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
And first home console I got was a Sega Genesis.
Very cool.
And then Sonic the Hedgehog just kind of blew my mind.
That explains it. Yeah, I was a Nintendo guy, and my friend had a Sega. I never had a Sega. It makes you into a different person.
It does. I'm always going to be the Sega kid, and you're going to be the Nintendo kid, and we're just going to be rivals because of it.
Sega! No, that's true. I mean, there's a lot of shared games, so there's a lot of good content on both consoles. I'm not going to nag Sega. I don't even know where this came from, but my mom or someone found it at a yard sale, but it was a Nomad. Have you ever heard of this system?
No.
It was like a Game Gear, but it was a Sega portable, and you put full Sega cartridges in it.
Wow.
And it was awesome. I played so many cool games on that, and I don't know what happened to that console, but I bet it's worth a lot of money now, being a portable.
Or it could be like
Sega
the Virtual
thing.
Boy, where it just makes everyone's eyes bleed.
No, this was just straight. You were playing Sega, but on a portable screen. And it was awesome.
Was it like Genesis cartridges you put into it?
Full Genesis cartridges?
That's insane.
So it was, and it was. I was a kid, so it wasn't.
So you could play Sonic 1 on the toilet without needing like 40 batteries on the Game Gear.
And I did. And some like crazy space game. There was like a Star Trek game on there I really liked that I could never figure out how to play, but seemed really cool at the time.
Games didn't explain things well back then.
No, that was part of the fun though.
It's just, hey, I'm smart because I figured it out.
Well, and they had more imagination because it wasn't just laying it all out for you. You had to like kind of piece together what the plot was and what these little sprites represented. I think that was part of the charm. So how did you meet? And I believe I looked this up. I used Wikipedia, so this could be wrong.
I'm on Wikipedia?
No, but Ethan and Malachi are the creators of Axe Cop.
Yes.
How did this collaboration like start? How did you meet them, and how did they get you pegged for Axe Cop? Maybe we should back up and explain what Axe Cop is, because I bet I didn't know until I've heard of it like vaguely. But I didn't know specifically what it was until you got involved.
Axe Cop is a comic book written by a 29-year-old written by a 5-year-old, drawn by his 29-year-old brother. And basically...
So is Malachi the younger brother?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
So basically, I guess it was like one Christmas break, Ethan went to his family's house, and he was trying to find something fun to do with Malachi, because they have like such a huge age difference.
True.
So Malachi says, hey, Ethan, do you want to play Axe Cop? And then they went outside and they played, and then I'm pretty sure that it just turned into a comic, and then just the success over it just kind of took off. I don't think anybody was expecting for it to be a big thing.
That's awesome. Was it like, so it was like a game they played together, like they would pretend to be these like characters and they'd make up stuff?
It was playtime.
Yeah.
And Ethan would just have to take lots of notes.
Yeah.
And I don't think he recorded it. I know he recorded them talking, but I don't think he like video recorded the playtime.
Is Malachi an adult now? Like, how old did this?
I think I saw on Twitter last year, he got his driver's license, so I think he's at least 16.
Okay, so it's probably 10 to 12-ish years ago when they first started.
Well, the game came out for the 10-year anniversary, which was last January.
Well, there you go.
And we released it in Thanksgiving. So last year was the 10-year. So this year is 11 years since Axe Cop came out.
Awesome. So then they wanted to make a game. So did this start online, or was it like a physical comic book? Was it like a... It
was a webcomic.
Okay.
And then it got popular enough that they got picked up by Dark Horse Comics.
That's what it is. I saw the comic in the store, so I knew it was legit. I thought you had made the whole thing up and it wasn't real.
I'm creative, but I'm not that creative.
Yeah, well, you did. What was your character? You have Mr. Triangle?
Yeah, and I've got a few other hodgepodge dudes.
Where can people can find your content, your old games, and where could they find Axe Cop, by the way? I can put links on the page as well. But
just at redtrianglegames.com.
Oh, that's easy.
There's links to everything. They click on Axe Cop, it'll show you, hey, do you want to play it on Steam? Do you want to play it on Android?
Hold on. Here we go. Not sure how close this is going to be, but yeah, Red Triangle Games. There's the logo. Check it out. But yeah, where were we? So, how did they reach out to you? How did that happen?
Well, the funny thing is, they didn't. I really wanted to make an Axe Cop game for a very long time. I discovered it one day at work, 2009, like when it was coming up.
Yeah.
And my coworker's like, look at this. This is the best fairy ever. And Bat Warthog Man. And I'm like, what? So we spent like a whole day goofing off, just reading Axe Cop comics online. And then it's always been in my head. And then out of nowhere, I saw the show on Hulu.
Oh, they have a show?
Yes.
Whoa.
All the episodes are free to watch on Hulu.
Holy cow. That's okay.
And Nick Offerman plays Axe Cop.
Okay. I didn't know that. I would have watched that before this interview.
Actually, it's a good thing you didn't, because we were strictly told that the game has to follow the comics, and there can be no original content from the show only. It has to be, if it appears in the comic and the show, it's safe, but if it appeared only in the show, it wasn't safe.
So they're like separate properties.
Right.
Gotcha.
So this is a comic book 10-year anniversary thing.
That makes sense.
But like, I was in between projects, I send out emails to all kinds of places that I want to make games for. And AxeCop's always been on the top of the list. So I went to the AxeCop site and I emailed whatever email was there.
Yeah.
And I think it was Ethan's manager, and it didn't go anywhere. So I was bummed out, and then I just finished the other game I was doing. Then I got finished with that game, and I said, man, I still really want to make this AxeCop game. So I'm like going down the rabbit hole of how to contact people.
Right.
And I get on Facebook, and there's the
You're basically cyber stalking him, is that right?
No, I really wasn't. I was on the AxeCop Facebook page.
Okay.
And the handle says AxeCop fan page. So I thought it was ran by a fan. It was ran by Ethan.
Wow.
So I said, hey Ethan, this is Matt with Red Triangle Games. I'd love to make an AxeCop game for you. And then we had some conversations. And then, well, kind of the rest is history, but like I just didn't give up. I just went for it.
That's awesome. I had no idea it was something you were like anticipating or hoping to do. That's awesome.
I just really wanted to do it. And my dad always kind of told me, he says, like, if you don't try for something, you'll never get it. So
100%.
if you got to ask or you'll never get it. So what's the worst Ethan could have said? He could have said no, and then I would have moved on. I would have made, like, Surface Source 2.
But now here you are. You got an official AxeCop game.
I have an official AxeCop game.
AxeCop game.
I have an official AxeCop
on
game.
Steam and other platforms.
Yes.
And that's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what I say too. I mean, it's like something else people do is they let the perfect be the enemy of the good. They're like so worried they won't do something just right. They don't even try. It's like, no, you gotta just get yourself out there. Like,
You just gotta try, man.
Yeah.
It's just like dating. You just gotta, the rejection is gonna suck.
let's not talk about dating.
No, that's not.
It's a sore subject.
Well, it's like,
Anyway, back to video games.
you gotta put yourself out there and hope for the best.
This is true. This is true.
That's all I'll get on that.
Yeah, and don't put up with no shit. So that's another thing. So I got my list of questions here. That's what I'm referring to. So.
Is don't put up with shit on the list?
How do you not put up with shit?
There it is, right there.
How do you put up with shit?
Oh, no.
Oh, wait. Or you're a piece of shit?
Hey.
Oh, sorry.
What kind of interview place is this?
So
It's a crossover.
It's a crossover episode. so how much was Ethan and I don't know if Malachi does any of the creative stuff anymore, but how much were they involved in the creation of the game, or did they just kind of let you go?
So, I'm really paranoid about having the reins on something and screwing it up.
You don't want all that pressure.
I don't want. I really. At first, I kind of wanted to be told what to do almost, because it's not my baby.
Yeah, you want to know what the boundaries are.
So once he kind of said comic book only, and I've read the, like, after he greenlit it, because the first level we made was the demo we proposed to him. It's the Land of Volcanoes.
I played that. That's the first level, basically.
It's the first level.
Yeah.
And you kill all the dinosaurs.
Yeah. Which was sad. It was old sad.
That was the proposal we gave to Ethan.
Okay.
So we knew that was going to be in there either way, because it's an origin story or whatever. So then I'm like, what is the game going to be? And I was like, you know how Garfield comics are just a bunch of short stories and they don't connect and it's just a bunch of nonsense?
Yeah.
So it's like managing to read 1,000 Garfield comics and connect them all together to say, this is the order they should go in.
Yeah, you made the Marvel universe of Garfield comics.
So I knew this is an anniversary comic game, so how do I connect all this stuff? And so it was like, well, I know I got to take some of the popular stuff. I got to take some of the stuff I actually want to do. I got to put the characters that are fan favorites plus the characters that I personally love, because it's like, if I just make a fan service game, I'm not gonna have fun. I got to enjoy myself, but I can't make the whole game about me, because that's not what this is supposed to be.
Right.
So it was just this huge amount of pressure to get it right, but also to do it right, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, help motivated you.
So I would just read the books over and over and over again. And then there were some unpublished things that were on the internet that weren't in volume 6. Like there's a issue like it was like Ask Axe Cop, or it's like with Ace Cop, where he meets Ace Cop in Las Vegas.
Crossover episode.
And then there's like this whole arc with the Songster, which is a whole other thing, which he was working on the Songster during the production of the game when it started. And it was this interactive thing where you could listen to music that was made for the comic of like raps and stuff. And the raps were written in the comic, so you could follow along.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
I like that.
Yeah. But yeah, just the pressure of getting it right was just like, how do you respect and pay tribute to 6 volumes and 10 years worth of content?
So you weren't able, I assume, to get like all the characters in there. You had to really cut stuff out. Like how much was in the comics versus how much ended up.
There's very little that's not in the game that's from the comics.
It seemed like a lot was in there.
Like it got to be a little OCD for me to.
Yeah, it was a little overwhelming when I got to that first like break point in the main story when. I think that's where when you get back to like the city block and things are kind of destruction after you have that crazy adventure in the sky and you crash. And there was a lot of characters and like people to talk to, and I was like, "There's a lot going on here." Like,
and that segment, that's only half the town is available.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah, I barely scratched the surface. I barely scratched it. I really like too. Let me see. Yeah, there's a lot of like game references. I feel like too, like video game.
Well, see, references. The thing that makes Axe Cop kind of, I think, like getting back to your previous question, I didn't want to.
Yeah, I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit.
It's okay. It's your show. Do whatever you want.
There's only so much structure I can implement here.
This is episode 7. All right, guys.
Wait, what time is it? Oh, where am I?
We're out of time, guys.
Oh, sorry, bye.
We're almost out of rum.
I still got a lot.
But you asked what involvement Ethan had in the comic. So basically, once I kind of figured out my roadmap of what I wanted to do, I would just send it to him, and I would say, "Can I do this?"
Nice.
And he would say yes or no. And then eventually it got to the point where he was like, "Listen, I know you really, really love Axe Cop. I trust you.
Nice.
Do it right. I know you'll do a good job." And then I'd only ask him really, really tough questions.
That's good. He saw your nerd heart, and that was clear.
I think he could tell that it means a very, very lot to me.
No, that's great. Yeah, he saw your content and saw you were doing good stuff. So it sounds like, yeah, he let you do what you wanted, but you would just get okay approvals from him.
Periodically, yeah.
No, that's awesome. How big of a team did you have? Was it mostly you, or how many people were helping you make this game?
There are Red Triangle Games is a one-man thing. I had to have an identity for Google when I was publishing games, so I didn't want to say, "Oh, these are Matt Edson games," because I wanted my privacy to be a little protected.
Well, they just know they heard your name now.
Yeah, but they don't know where I live, my address and stuff.
Well, that is no. It's on the screen now.
Dial in. That's the only way you can get cups, by the way.
Yeah, message me if you want any swag. We'll see what we can do.
But my good buddy, his name is Soda Piggy. He and I have collaborated many times.
Is that his Christian name as well, or?
No, he's actually had several names, but I think Soda Piggy is the name he's decided to keep.
Gotcha. Very good.
But yeah, Soda Piggy and I have been working together for over 10 years.
Okay. So
we
you got
made
history.
Mr. Triangle's Adventure. We made Surfasaurus. We collaborated even before then. And then I was like, "Hey, man."
What is his role in on your team?
Well, for Mr. Triangle's Adventure and Surfasaurus, he only wrote the music.
Oh, okay. I love the music, by the way.
Going into Axe Cop, we knew we had to elevate it, because I can do okay art, but I can't do art as good as he can.
Okay.
So, like, all the map-based art when you're walking around, the overhead view stuff, that was all me.
Okay.
But he would do all the battles and the big sprites.
Nice.
So
it looked great, and the sound was awesome. I love the soundtrack.
He wrote the soundtrack, and he did the battle sprites and stuff.
That was something that was very Mega Man to me. The soundtrack reminds me a lot of old NES. Like
it's
Mega
funny
Man,
that you say that, because you know how in Mega Man you have like the 8 bosses that you pick?
And this is kind of that with the computer system. I noticed that too.
So I wanted each level to have its own feel. And like, there are some people that kind of get it and don't get it, and that's totally fine, why there's not a battle theme. but that's because I wanted the level themes to be so dynamic.
That's cool.
There's no battle theme when you fight, like, or the flip top guy in Mega Man. It's just you're going. You just keep going.
Yeah.
The momentum has never stopped. The song doesn't start over again.
And that repeated song can get annoying if it's the same. If it's
So it's gotta be
the
good.
same boss battle every time music. That gets that doesn't work.
So I wanted all the level themes to feel as good fighting and combat as it does in exploration. Because I want the momentum to just stay the same. So that was like a decision that we had to not do a traditional JRPG battle theme and a victory theme.
I think it worked well. Yeah. And that there was something else in the sprite art. Was this a specific reference you did on purpose? I think it's in the police station, the prison. The prisons look exactly like the prisons from Super Nintendo Legend of Zelda. Was that on purpose, or did the sprites just happen to look that way?
Everything was drawn originally, but there were a lot of source material that we referenced. We're getting back to the other question that I kind of went back to the old question now.
Yeah, we're good. It's like an onion, this conversation.
An onion. It stinks?
Sure,
I don't know. What is the way the Shrek joke goes?
I don't remember. It's layered.
Layers. That's the correct answer in the Shrek movie.
Yeah, but we could say...
I think Donkey thought because Shrek smelled that he thought onions were... I think that was the joke.
Luckily, I haven't got my smell-o-vision adapter from Amazon yet, so you can't smell this at home, but that was going to be a huge feature I wanted to have. They break that fourth
Then they would be
wall.
able to smell the rum and the whiskey.
If that's what it is.
It could be coffee and water.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, who would do that in the middle of the afternoon?
That's ridiculous.
So Axe Cop is very much about Malachi's childhood and what Ethan could put his own childhood spin on. So like when Ethan created the Moon Warriors, based on Malachi's like concept of they're ninjas from space.
Gotcha.
Ethan loved Double Dragon when he was a kid, so that's why the Moon Warriors look just like the Double Dragon characters.
That's awesome.
So like approaching a visual style for this, I was like, how do I make this game look authentic to someone's childhood from a game design perspective? What are the first games that I grew up falling in love with? I fell in love with Pokemon. I fell in love with the Game Boy Zelda games. Those are my two games that, like, those are my first loves with game design.
Yeah, I feel that.
So a lot of the style is based on that because this game is a love letter to the things that I loved growing up as much as Axe Cop is a love letter to the things Malachi loved when he was growing up.
That's awesome. It really comes across. Like, I really felt it. Just first from the intro and the whole vibe of the game and the music and everything. So.
And Soda Piggy, he loved Dragon Warrior and all that stuff. So that's when he got to really flex his muscles with the battle stuff and really put his childhood into it. So it's this whole amalgamation of...
You're making me really excited to jump back in and finish the game now, too.
I thought you said, hey, I finished the game. Let's have the interview.
I know.
So we could talk about spoilers.
Well... We can still do spoilers.
No, it won't be fun for you if you haven't.
Well, what was your It's
a crossover episode.
What was your goal with the game? Was it to try and tell the entire Axe Cop story? Was it to get like specific parts? Like what when you were finalizing the concept, what was your overall like goal?
My goal from day one was to make a 10-year anniversary game. Mm-hmm. How do you tell all of the stories all at the same time? And that was my goal, is to make every story beat humanly possible feel represented in this game. I want people... I didn't want to make this game to make a sequel. I have a sequel idea. I don't really want to do it, but it's there because I can't help it. But I wanted this to be the one game.
Yeah, this would be the summation.
It's the sum.
For all of it, yeah.
Yeah, and that was my goal, is to just put just nail on the head.
That's awesome. I think you did a good job.
Thanks.
So how much... That kind of brings me to another question. So how much of the humor in the game, because there's a lot. Obviously, Axe Cop itself is a very humorous thing, but how much of the jokes in the game is you versus the original material? And did you add like video game kind of jokes that were your own that kind of fit the atmosphere? Or is it all pretty much from the source material?
All of the missions are based around story arcs in the game, and then once the game takes off in the main narrative that connects all the stories together...
Okay, so they're not all just separate.
They start out that way, and whenever humanly possible, I will use dialogue that's been written.
Right.
Even if it doesn't
right from the comic book.
100% match the dialogue I've written.
Yeah.
Or what the dialogue they've written in the book. So it's like, I always want to bring that authenticity. I always want the comic to be first. But because it's a giant RPG, and it's like connecting 1,000 Garfield comics, I would say it's about 50-50.
Okay. So there's a lot of you in there.
I definitely felt AXCOP's personality influenced my own during the production of this game.
When it fits your other style of like the comedy from your Red Triangle games, like it seems to just flow perfectly.
I like quirky comedy with a little bit of sass.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think that describes this conversation. That's going to be in the description.
It's a crossover episode!
With a little bit of sass.
You should, when you edit this video, you should make a counter that appears on the bottom that says how many times we've done a crossover episode.
He thinks I'm gonna edit this.
This is episode 7.
Cute. I don't know, that laugh was a little long. I might cut that laugh out.
Here, let me do it again.
Whoa. So I love the mechanics too. That kind of brings up your style a little bit more too. Like the running mechanics early on was really fun. Like it was just straight fun, and having to run around and find the different dinosaurs and the little secret things, and like I did glitch out a little at one point. I ended up like off the stage where I shouldn't be, and like somehow found my way back. I should have sent you that. I should have sent you a glitch report.
Yeah, not talked about it in the podcast.
But I figured I was worried. Oh shoot. This part I will definitely edit. But no, where did you get those ideas? And I haven't. Oh, and the way you switch abilities like seamlessly, I swear it might be the best implementation I've ever seen of where you need to use a certain character to break through a certain thing, and it easily switches over like seamlessly without having to go to a menu and like confusingly do stuff.
There's 3 different ways to switch between characters.
Yeah, that's genius.
There's a dedicated button just to switching, and then you can switch from the main menu, and then when you interact with said object, it gives you a prompt.
That's what I'm talking about.
And everybody
That was
picks a
genius.
different one.
I like the prompt, the auto prompt. I'm like,
I did
whoop.
too. Some people don't get it, which is weird because I'm like, hey man, I gave you 2 other ways if you don't like this one.
I like that too. It was genius. But no, that's like, I hope other games copy that because it worked. It was better than like Pokemon when I'd have to cut down a tree and I'd go to my menu, I'd switch my Pokemon, it's clunky.
I think Pokemon is just prompts only.
You need to teach Nintendo.
I would love to make I actually have a whole design schematic, which is not XCOP related, for a Pokemon based game.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Have you thought about just making it like Pokebob and making it your own version and not calling it Pokemon?
I don't know that I want to do another RPG just yet.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I mean, XCOP was about 3.5 years. Surfasaurus was a year. Mr. Triangle's Adventure was 4 years. So
you mostly do RPGs, right?
Yeah. So for almost 10 years, that's all I've done. I want to take a break.
Well, I mean, based on your mechanics, like I could see you putting together a fun like adventure action game or even a platformer. Like I could see you got the
I want to keep doing different stuff.
Yeah, I like it. Let's see. I'm running out of questions here. So, favorite or most influential games growing up? You kind of mentioned some of those already, though. Actually,
I can't play Final Fantasy IX without wanting to make another RPG.
Yeah, that's true.
I always want to make my.
Well, don't play Chrono Cross because that'll make you want to make another RPG.
Yeah, Final Fantasy IX is just my favorite one. I don't know. There's just so much to love about that game. I feel like we should both play it, and then there's a whole episode we can do just on Final Fantasy IX.
I would love to do that, like a book club, but for video games.
Game club.
And we talk. The only problem is it takes like 100 hours to play a Final Fantasy game. Is there like the normie version where someone's like edited out parts so
just watch the whole thing on
so
YouTube.
You can beat it in 5 hours?
Watch the Cliff Notes.
I don't think I've ever beaten a Final Fantasy game. I got really close to beating Final Fantasy X. But
that was hard.
That was very hard. I think I got to the boss towards the last bit of the game that like infinitely heals itself, and if you didn't have the right setup, it was just really hard to.
I've only played that game once, but it had a lot of frustrating fights.
Definitely, I think it scarred me. I tried to play Final Fantasy VII before that and kind of got lost, but I liked it.
Did you play the remake?
No, the original.
I mean, have you played the remake?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm just worried it's going to be endless, like, parts. It's never going to finish. It's just going to be like, here, there's more Final Fantasy we can sell you.
You played the first game in 40 hours. Now play the first 5 hours in 40 hours.
Yeah, one of the sequels is going to be nothing but, like, the Chocobo and the desert part, and that'll be the whole release. And, like, you'll spend 30 hours just doing that. Like,
I will skip that one.
It'll be there, I'm telling you. Well, what other artistic outlets do you have? Because I know you do stuff other than video games.
I write music sometimes, like, to kind of, like, not space out, but, like, just to kind of get out of my head. Because, like, game design, like, I feel like when you do it right, it becomes kind of a big part of who you are. So shutting down that mentality is really important. And so, like, I'll when I want to shut my brain down, I'll say, okay, it's time to make another album. So, and I'll just...
Hey, well, go back to the salt mines.
Back to the salt mines. So, like, I was getting a little tired on AXCAP, getting to the end and the pressure of getting it right and all the bugs fixed and everything.
There's a lot that goes into releasing stuff like that, man. Yeah, I can't even imagine.
I did have the best bug tester I've ever had, ever.
Yeah, another question. What was your whole team? You mentioned one guy, so you had a bug tester. Who all was working with you?
The bug tester's name's Rue Lazaro. I think that's how you say his name. And
we didn't do a great job because I found a guy.
Hey, I have a spreadsheet.
Don't watch this, Lazaro. Don't.
Rue knows he did a good job. I tell everyone in my game community to use Rue. He's fantastic.
Awesome.
But also, there's a lot of mini games in the game, and like when you watch the show, you'll see like it's a very fast-paced show.
Right.
It's like the comics very fast.
Yeah.
So like I wanted to not make the whole game just feel like one giant action RPG. I'm like,
got to change the pace.
How do you break it up and just say, okay, here's an abrupt stop. Here's something silly that also works. So like in the snow level, you go on a snowboarding mission. That's largely because when I was a kid, I could never get past Sonic the Hedgehog 3 in the carnival zone.
Right.
As an adult, I learned, hey, I wonder if the internet has a way to get past this.
They figured it
Turns out there are arrows on those things in Carnival Night, and you push the up and down buttons, and then you can go down, and then you can do the really awesome snowboarding part in Sonic 3 that I never got to do. So I was like, you know what? I'm putting the snowboarding part in AXCOM.
Yeah.
So it's just stuff like that.
It's for your inner child.
Yeah. It's my childhood in the game.
So you had
I had two people program mini games.
Okay.
One's name, he works for a company called Spoonweaver Studios. He's another one-man studio guy.
Cool.
The other one's James Page. He actually is the guy that made the game construction engine that I used.
Oh.
So there's like this he did two big ones. There's like this big side-scrolling shooter level where you actually fly an AXCOP's dinosaur and you shoot aliens and fight this giant spectacular boss battle before you go inside of him to save all the good guys that were stolen.
That's awesome.
They weren't kidnapped, they were stolen.
They were stolen.
Yeah.
So
that's 4. And then I had a sound effect guy.
So wait, the guy that made the software that you used,
he helped program 2 of the mini games.
Wow. Are you guys just close from like forum interaction, or how did you know him from just working with this product for so long?
We've just always been email close for years.
Yeah. That's what I love about nerds is those communities that pop up around stuff like that. It's really cool.
We have a whole Discord where we all just sit around talking about game design all day. It's pretty awesome.
That's very nerdy.
It's definitely the nerdiest thing to do.
I like it.
Sometimes people talk so much about game design that they don't ever do game design. That's when you take it too far.
That's probably most people, really.
Yeah. Everyone's right and everyone's wrong.
The doing is the most important. Going back to what you were saying, even if you're doing it wrong, just do it, and then you'll learn from your mistakes. But
and then I had the sound effect guy, which I 2 years ago, maybe it's 3. I went to Orlando IX, which is a small little indie game conference in a Full Sail University.
Oh, cool.
And I put the game up. Like I had a booth. I showed off the first couple levels, got people's opinions, made a mail list, gave pamphlets, and I met Ryan McQuinn, who does music and sounds at a company he runs called Neon Dolphin. And
like that.
He and I got into talking, and he's like, "Hey, I can make sound effects just like what's in this game, and it helps free up Soda Piggy to do more art." So great.
So he was doing like music and sound
He was doing all audio.
Like yeah.
And Ryan wound up making about 400 sounds for the game.
Whoa.
Yeah. And they're all great. They're all fantastic. And they all have their own little piece of flair. Because it's like, you know how those old games, how they recolored old sprites and it felt cheap?
Yep.
I don't want to do that.
Nice.
This is an NES-inspired game. It pretends to use a lot of the limitations of it. It will never be a game that could fit on an actual cartridge. But from beginning to end, it will feel nostalgic.
It definitely does.
So I didn't want to reuse sounds if I didn't have to. I didn't want to have to... Yeah.
Everything in that game is just brimming with personality. Like, every little detail, every dialogue box, like...
That's the plan.
Every little art, animation, and sound and music. Yeah, it's great. And I know nothing about Axe Cops, but I was enjoying the hell out of it. So, yeah, don't feel like you have to be an expert or love the character to enjoy the game. So, and it's making me want to check out the other stuff, too. So, I'll have to check out that show.
There's a Steam summer sale coming up. I think it starts sometime in the summer.
Is that when that happens?
Yeah, I think the summer sale's in the summer.
Yeah, time again is elusive.
When do you think summer is? Is it possibly when summer is?
I think that's when, like, normal people go to the beach.
Really?
I don't know when that is.
We live in Florida where everything's awful at, like, summer.
Oh, you just doxed me. No one knows where I'm from, but now they know I'm from
We live in,
Timbuktu.
We're live from Timbuktu. It's a crossover episode.
No, we're from Timbuk 1. We're the original.
Timbuk 1. I have to take a bridge to go home, and I live in Timbuk 3.
That's true. That's true. Well, man, that's the extent of my video game and specific questions about this game. Is there anything else about Axe Cop you want to talk about specifically?
Well, the game came out on Thanksgiving. In the Steam Summer Sale, all of the Retron games are going to be 50% off. So the summer's the best time to play the game. We're going to have an update soon with a new playable character, Liborg.
That's right. I was trying to wait for that, but then I realized it wasn't coming, so I had to play it now.
And there's going to be, let's see, there's a couple side missions done, another Fighting Zoo tournament, which is basically like a Coliseum fight.
So you added a whole other set of, like...
It's a boss rematch cup.
There you go. The very Mega Man again.
And you have to, there's some bosses that you didn't really fight one-on-one before, like they were inside of robots or something. So since they've been locked up in the jail, and now they're inside of...
So you're just beating up prisoners? Is that the idea?
Yeah, basically. I mean, Axe Cop cuts their heads off.
He's pretty violent. I mean, it's not for kids.
But it's cute, because the kid wrote it.
It is for kids.
If an adult wrote it, like if it was Robert Kirkman,
yeah,
it would be awful.
It would be horrible violence.
But a kid wrote it, so it's cute.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it feels like Power Ranger violence. It doesn't ever feel, like, threatening.
You don't see the blood,
right.
But it's there.
It's bloodless.
It's bloodless death.
Well, he swings the axe so fast it actually cauterizes the wound, so there's no blood. That's how powerful he is.
Yes.
Is that part of the mythology? It is now.
He has a lot of different... There's a lot of different things.
Ethan, contact me if you want to use that idea.
There's a lot of specific things that Axe Cop has that don't make sense, but also make sense. Like, the only way to grow a kick-ass mustache is to go from the past, get mustache wax, go back in time, put it on yourself as a baby, so then you can grow a mustache later.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, mustache wax. Time travel.
But then it creates a paradox of, like...
Did you do it or
would
did you
I
not?
have had to go back to do it if it was already there? And if I had... Yeah.
There's a whole timeline, like a branched reality, where Axe Cop didn't grow up with a mustache. And then there's the one where he did.
Yeah.
So that's true Axe Cop.
That's the Dragon Ball Z theory of, like, time travel creates alternate realities. It doesn't actually fix your reality.
Right.
Or there's the loop theory that it's all connected. And
I like to think of branch realities when it comes to time travel. I think that makes the most sense.
See, I'm the opposite. Yeah,
you think it's all just... It just fixes itself and continues.
No, I just think if time travel, if someone had ever gone back into the past, they had always done that. So it's not like you can really change the past because the past is kind of fixed. So like say you went back and you tried to save Abraham Lincoln, but we know Abraham Lincoln is dead today, so you must have failed. So you may have gone back and tried, but you didn't do it, or else he would be alive. Or, well, he'd be dead now because of time, but he would have not been assassinated.
He would have not been assassinated. That's true.
But yeah, I really don't think it's possible in general, so it's just fun to think about.
Oh, did you hear about that guy that has a car that can go through time?
Yeah, like Doc Brown? Is this his name?
I don't know if brown was the right color, but I'm pretty sure that was right.
Not his car color, but his name.
Yeah, the car was like a silverish gray.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. DeLorean, I think.
But I like the idea of the branch realities because I think it's neat. We do a little bit of time travel in Axe Cop.
Do you?
Because you kind of can't help it. The bad guys.
Do you do it to get your mustache?
No. I've almost put that in the
now I'm
game
disappointed.
a few times. Because there's a place that you go to in the game called 0,000, specifically 0, 000, 0. It's written that way. It's referred to that way.
That's a lot of zeros.
Yeah. So I had to put it in that way.
It's like a Bitcoin number.
And it's the area and time, or space and time when animals could talk.
Oh. I didn't know animals.
And there's a reason why you have to go there in the game. So I've been
talk to an animal. Do you have to get some information?
I'm not in the room of the game, man.
Oh, okay.
It's a pretty late game thing.
I gotta find out.
But I was debating on putting somebody there in one of the beds, screaming about mustache wax.
Just a little nod.
Yeah, just a nod. I might still do it because I haven't posted the update yet. The update's probably going to come in a couple weeks. And it's going to have like a recolored Land of Volcanoes. It's going to have Liborg, the Boss Rush rematch. You're going to be able to fight Dr. Yahoo. And I think that's the extent of the update.
Some like random fixes and updates and things like that.
Some quality of life stuff.
That's awesome. You said you don't want to do an RPG next. Do you have any idea what kind of game you want to make next, or you just wait until it strikes you?
I've made a few small little indie games this year so far. I made this art game called Missing You. It's just like this.
I like art games.
It's like a 5-minute game. If you play it for 5 minutes and you don't hate it by the time you're done, I feel like you did a good job. But it's just this game where these two people, they're from opposite parts of the world, and they miss each other, and they're looking at the moon together, and they make a wish on a star, and the star falls down. Yeah, it's sad.
Sorry, it's getting a little oniony in here.
I'm actually I'm as I feel like it, I'm working on a bundle for Steam, and it's gonna have 4 games of mine, all put into one, and they're all gonna be totally different. Like there's one game called Scare Spree where you run around scaring kids. And it's like an arcade game.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Is this like something that you've always wanted to do in real life?
No, it's a game
you would get arrested for it, so you can't do it.
Just run around the neighborhood. Well, like,
damn kids.
It's a game that I made, like, believe it or not, like 10 years ago, and I just keep coming back to it because I keep loving it and I keep wanting to make it better. And then I've got
it's like an arcade game. Yeah.
It's an arcade game. Most of the games, besides the art game, are arcade games. But then there's Graffiti Goose, which is just like this kind of Dr. Mario styled game.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like the Untitled Goose Game. Did you play any of that?
No, but I was thinking about making a game called Titled Goose Game.
That is a great idea. That is a good idea.
And it will be with the same goose.
Yeah, it's like a sequel.
It's the sequel
reference, but
it's
not.
Yeah.
It's a different title. It can't be the same goose.
I can't get sued. It's not Untitled Goose Game 2.
This goose has a title.
This is the titled game.
I think you're confusing this with another game.
It's a crossover episode.
It's a crossover. No, it's just theft.
And then there's another one called Night Slights, which is basically a medieval version of Cards Against Humanity.
Oh.
But I'm going to...
In video game form.
Yes. I'm going to age it down so it's like...
So it'd be like a multiplayer game, or how would that work?
They're all single-player games.
Okay.
But I'm going to age down Night Slides to be about for 13 and up.
So it's not about like the apocalypse and
no, nothing. I'm going to try to get all the raunchy stuff out of it.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's really different.
The other version.
I think that's a great idea. I would like to play these short little games.
They'll be free, and they'll probably come out around the summer.
Free? Will there be like a donation option?
Sure.
Okay. I'll send you some bitcoins. Or fractions of a bitcoin.
Hey, you should have said a whole one.
Actually, I said more. I said bitcoins. That means more than one. It's too much.
Hey, man, if you play and you have a good time, that's worth everything in the world to me.
Are you working on anything currently?
I'm going to finish up the Axe Cop content, like I was saying, to come out in the next couple of weeks. I'm also working with another developer. I'm producing a game this time.
Oh.
And helping with some level of development. It's a game called Blood Ledger, where it's like more... It's like a thief game. Where you're like an assassin. It's hard to get into it quickly.
Yeah.
But it's like a stealth game.
Okay.
But like an overhead perspective type thing.
What's the ledger part?
I think that's his name, and he's also trying to clear out his ledger and stuff.
Like his debt?
Yeah.
It's like killing people?
Because he gets exiled from his homeland, but he wants to feel worthy enough to go home, but also he wants to do his own thing. So it's
Is it kind of like Thief or something like this classic?
The developer's main inspiration is Thief.
Is it gonna be stylistically similar to yours, like in 16-bit looking kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
And we've got a team going with that one as well, so it's teamwork's the way to go. Making games by yourself.
Dude, a producer, that's legit, bro.
Trying to, I want to do something different. I've made like RPGs for 10 years. It's time to do some new stuff.
I think that's great. And I know you've been making music as well. You just finished an album recently, didn't you?
We're in the mixing stage of the new Shattermat album called Murder Hornets. He actually sings on the last 2 albums.
Shattermat.
The pretty parts that I can't sing because I can't hold notes very well.
Way in the background where it still sounds nice.
He's at like 8% volume.
Yeah. That's the way you want it.
He's there though.
That's the way you want it. You don't only want so much of me.
You plus 2 other dudes.
That's true.
We won't talk
And it's
about
just
that.
what it sounds like, ladies.
This is the part of the show where you either gain or lose subscribers.
Maybe both in like equal numbers. It'll even out.
It's a wash.
It'll
There's
even out.
50 new ones, and we lost 50.
Yeah. But now Google can't censor me because I might be gay, so you can't delete me or else you might be homophobic. Just remember this. All right?
Oh man.
But yeah, you just finished that and you just did
Yeah.
a music video, didn't you?
Yeah. One of my friends, he tragically passed away in January, and I wasn't finished writing the album yet. Like I think writing an album is a very hard thing to do because you want it to feel like a whole thing. I can't write music with a single mentality. Like I like everything to belong.
Yeah.
That's why I make big games. That's why I make big albums. It's just because like everything needs to feel like it's part of something.
That makes sense.
And here's like all the themes from the album, like about loss and betrayal and stuff. And then my friend passes away, and that's like heartache to like the ultimate degree.
Yeah, and you made music with him too, didn't you?
The first band I was ever in called the Mark Gates. He was the drummer for that, and
Really good drummer.
he was fantastic. And it was really weird, but I think the song that you're talking about is called "Wish You Were Here," and when I write with other people, I try not to give them any instruction. I like people to just organically come up with what they want to come up with. But when we're working on "Wish You Were Here," the drummer that we used was called Matt. His name's Matt Manussi. I don't know if I'm gonna say his name right.
I can't correct you.
Sorry.
I don't know.
Sorry, Matt.
Matt M.
Matt M. Yeah. And I was like, Matt, I'm. One thing he used to do a lot was he used to do lots of really crazy fills.
I thought you were gonna say cocaine. I didn't know where this was going.
No, but he used to do lots of crazy fills, and it really added like this hardcore texture to it.
Yeah.
And it's this really soft song, but it sounds heavy at the same time. And I'm like, this is what he would have done if he had played this song. And this is the only time I've ever actually given like a drummer instruction.
Yeah.
And he just knocked it out of the park.
That's great. Yeah, I can link to your video in the description because it's on YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll link that so people can check that out. And then it's not for sale yet, or
No, we're just started the mixing phase. I think we got 2 songs mixed, and we're getting ready to start the other 8.
wow. Okay.
So I'm hoping I'm hoping to have a big summer just overall. Shattermat album
It
bundle.
should coincide about the same time.
Yeah.
And you have a Bandcamp page with your other music already? I can link to that
For
as well.
Shattermat.
Okay.
And all the
Heck
other
yeah.
albums are there. They're all free. Well, they should be.
Maybe you should up the price now.
Because now they're going to be...
Yeah, make people want it.
If people want to go listen, that's fine.
Or
I
donate.
think that...
You can donate on Bandcamp as well.
Yeah. I like to think that art should be something that should be accessible. And if you want it, you should be able to have it.
I agree. That's always my model, is the value for value model. If you get value out of what I produce and you enjoy it, give me something back. Otherwise, don't worry about it.
Yeah. And if you just enjoy it, I mean, that means that's why I make it.
Share it. That's the biggest thing. I'd rather you share it with a friend and get more people to check it out than give me money.
I 100% agree. I'd rather make free games that tons of people love. I mean, making a game that you could live off of is awesome, but...
Well, I mean, there's a fine line, like I want to survive, I
want to survive.
So if I can do that, doing something I love, then all the better, but I'm not worried about being a millionaire or making a ton of bucks.
Exactly.
I just want to...
I want to be an artist.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to do what I love, and I want other people to enjoy it.
That's the dream, damn it.
It's the dream.
It's the dream. Crossover episode.
Crossover. This is the counter over here.
Well, where can people find you online, other than your Bandcamp, which I'll link below?
So all the Red Triangle Games social media you can get from redtrianglegames.com. There's links for the Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch.
Okay. So you're all over the place.
Try to.
Yeah, and send me links and I'll post up stuff on there where people can check it out.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of wrapping it up, but anything else you want to talk about? We got the time.
Well, you've been talking about me this whole time. How are you doing?
Actually, I'm doing really well.
Good.
I'm doing really well. I'm
glad.
enjoying the podcast. I'm enjoying talking to my friends about stuff like this. And
yeah, it's been fun watching your videos.
yeah, if you ever want to come back, this is a great convo. We could talk about
We're going to do the Final Fantasy 9 one.
We're going to do, yep.
Yeah.
Check it out. Once I get 100 years.
Unless he edits this part out of the video.
That'll be the one edit. Just cut right there.
I'm not committed to anything.
No, I think that's a great idea. And it would be a great episode. Well, Matt, I appreciate you coming. This is
Yeah,
a
man.
blast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I'll see you guys next time. If you like what you saw, give us a like, give us a comment. Check out this man's stuff. Check out his music video, and his game is on Steam and other platforms.
On Itch and Google Play.
It's all over the place. Check that shit out.
Share the video with your friends.
Yeah, share this video and share his music video and share the game. It's fun, man. It's fun stuff. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Cool. That was it.
That's dope.
That was great. That flowed really well.